From the field to the card shop, it's Moon 3PO and Bro PO breaking down the hottest sports cards. Bro PO, it is a Sunday night, the first official episode of the off season. How's your Sunday night? Hopefully, listeners, you're hearing this on a Tuesday, potentially a Monday. Just because I do have another video planned out for Monday, but we'll talk about that later. But Sunday night record episode dropping first episode of the off season. Bro PO, how you doing?
Oh man, I'm doing good. This is the dark times of baseball. We're into the off season. There's no news. There's nothing going on. And it's getting dark early. The weather's changing. I'm ready for spring.
Yeah, there's absolutely this is technically the first week of the off season for me, and absolutely have done nothing. My days have been slow. Um, and yeah, they have been catching up on some shows that I fell behind during the regular season, catching up on my documentaries that I'm catching up on the regular season. So this is a dark times, dark periods for all of us baseball fans here. And yeah, very, very slow coming into the off season so far. But like we just mentioned, this is our first episode of the off season. Officially, last episode we did break down the World Series. I guess before we go into the off season, I don't feel like I think we covered everything. I know we've had about a week, 2 weeks of digesting the World Series. I think we basically hit our main points in that last episode as far as of actions and news and of the way everything broke down. I feel like we didn't miss anything in that episode. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, I think we hit everything. And I think the only thing that's legit that's probably happened since we last recorded is that they've announced all the Gold Glove winners. So shout out to our boy Willie Abreu, who won a Gold Glove in right field, and as a rookie too. I think Fred Lynn was also a rookie. I think he was the last rookie to win a Gold Glove for the Sox. Oh no, I don't know. No, somebody has to check that. Maybe in the outfield. I don't know, but I know
Yeah, rookie wise, I
Fred
believe
Lynn
so.
was
I
like
know
one of the
he's the
last
first
few to
outfielder
do it,
to win or right
right?
fielder to win one since Mookie, obviously, 2018. But yeah, I believe you are correct. I believe Fred Lynn was the first rookie. Freddie Lynn was the first rookie to win a Gold Gloves
Freddie Lynn.
since then. So yeah, shout out to our boy Wilshire winning the Gold Glove. But yeah, nothing has really happened as far as the news. Obviously, we'll talk. That's going to be later part of the episode as far as a breakdown. There's obviously one superstar that we talked about in the World Series that's basically going is headlining this free agency market. But let's talk some cards first before we dive into any free agency. Because even though it is the off season, we still got card releases being released here. I know I saw a TikTok of somebody saying like I don't know why they do that, but to me it makes sense. I don't see why you wouldn't release baseball cards in the off season. I think it's a good time to if there's a player that you're high on potentially to sell or a player that is currently low. Maybe it's a buying time for those players, and maybe that's another episode for a different time. We cover more into player markets. I just kind of wanted to let this episode be a little bit of dipping our toes into the offseason as far as of releases and sets. But we do have an official release date here. I'm sorry, we do not have an official release date here for the set, but we did get a price of the set. 2024 Bowman Draft. Now, you, my friend, you're not really too deep into the prospects. Ari, I know obviously you know a little bit of our Sox, but you're not really deep into the single A, the draftees, are you?
Um, yeah, for the most part, no. If it's not like a well-known name, like who's drafted early round, or if it's not like for the Red Sox or somebody who's here local, like for the Rangers or the Astros, or even maybe I would even say the Padres since we're the affiliate for the Missions. If it's not like any of those guys, probably more unlikely I won't know who they are. Um, but again, it's just also one of those, like I think I've mentioned before, it's just one of those products where it has such a high price, and a lot of these guys are unknown or don't have a proven track record besides like if you put up numbers in college or stuff like that. But yeah, it's just one of those weird products. But we like it. It looks cool.
Yeah, so 2024 Bowman got the pre-orders officially dropping last week. At the time of this recording has been about a week now. Entered the queue, was able to get into the top website. Thought potentially of pre-ordering a box, and then I saw that price point and immediately closed down my browser. Hobby box was $520, and a jumbo box was over $1,000. Which even though we complain about the prices, these boxes are still selling out. So if you miss your pre-orders, they are officially out of stock on Tops. So your best bet is going to be either one, your local card stores, secondary marketplaces like any other like Steel City Collectibles, those kind of guys, or potentially buy into breaks and look for your team for 2024 Bowman draft. But yeah, 2024 Bowman draft, $520. You skipping that set?
$500. Yeah, it's just just safe to say I'm good.
So yeah, 2024, $520. That is just absolutely ridiculous. But there are some big names obviously highlighting. Obviously, it's called Bowman Draft. So if you don't know Bowman Draft, it's obviously highlighting the guys that just previously got drafted in our 2024 season. So it is highlighted by these top names here. Travis Bazana, he was a Guardians first round pick. Chase Burns, Reds, he was a second round pick number 2 in the first round. Nick Kurtz, he was pick number 4. Hagen Smith by the White Sox. Jack Caglione, a two-way player for the Kansas City Royals. Kristen Moore, Connor Griffin from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Seaver King from the Nationals. Bryce Rayner from the Tigers. Brandon Montgomery from our Boston Red Sox. James Tibbs III, and Cam Smith. Those are some of the guys here that are highlighting the product. And then there are some guys here that were left alone off this draft. Obviously, MLB and Tops and Bowman, they do that on purpose just so they can have some players highlighting 2024. I'm sorry, not 2024, 2025 Bowman. That's going to be Charlie Codon. I'm big on him for the Colorado Rockies. JJ Witherhort for the Cardinals. PJ Morlando, Vance Honeycutt, Walker Jenks, Slade Codwell, Malcolm Moore, just to name a few. But yeah, it's going to be a fun set there. A hobby box here is going to be returning at 12 packs with 32 cards per pack. Each hobby box will have three autographs. And then a jumbo box is going to have, it's a 600 card box, which will feature 5 packs and 120 cards in that format, which is just pretty crazy. And each jumbo box guarantees 5 autographs, which is a lot of autos, but like we mentioned here, it's just a lot of filler, a lot of paper, and a lot of very mixed bag as far as of autos, just because, like you mentioned there are guys where they may have not made a name for themselves just of yet, because obviously they were just drafted. So a lot of these guys here haven't really made a name as that. So I guess I just throw it back to you here. If let's say if it's a lower price point, let's say $300, $200, even with those names still being like you really don't know, are you still buying a box, or is this one of those things where you're buying singles and kind of waiting to see if these guys play? Because obviously these guys have been are low A, single A, like Brandon Montgomery, for example. He hasn't even played a game because he was dealing with an ankle injury. So a lot of these guys here haven't really got a taste of the MLB. So it's to me, it's a very high risk, high reward type set. Is it even a product for you as well? Like with these guys, like let's say a high round pick, are you spending more than $100 on an auto? Because a lot, obviously, with these guys as well, it's more of a thing where they haven't had a lot of established time in the majors, obviously, or even in the minors. Like Brandon Montgomery, for example, he's still with an ankle injury when the Red Sox drafted him, so he technically hasn't even tasted league ball
Yeah.
yet. So unless you're like a guy like Paul Skeens or one of these guys like Evan Carter, Wyatt Langford, who's just flying through the ranks, are you paying more than $100 auto, or is it one of those things where you're just looking for maybe a cheap insert, a cheap base card first Bowman, and seeing if it goes somewhere, it goes somewhere down the line?
Yeah, for this kind of stuff, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, it's just the price point's like way out there. I think it's just more like if they have the retail retail blaster boxes, if they have those, like I'll probably buy like one or two. But other than that, like I'm not gonna dig into like all this stuff. And usually, sometimes I have a pretty good track record of pulling autos out of like retail boxes. So, um, but other than that, like yeah, it's kind of just one of those things where if I want to grab it on eBay or at a card show, see if we can sling out a deal. But yeah, I'm not gonna go buying the Honda, spending $500 and try to see if I, see if it comes out on my end from pulling it.
Yeah, and so I know I say it a lot with a lot of these sets that get released, but this is definitely a set that is way beyond my price point. So I definitely will not be buying a hobby box or jumbo um, of this set. This is definitely going to be a singles thing for me if I'm able to find a good single, like you mentioned there, at a card show or at a um, on eBay or something, maybe collects potentially. That's definitely going to be the way to go for these types of sets. And the way I've gone, like even with 2023 Bowman Draft, never bought a box of that. Obviously, Paul Skeens highlighted that product, but once again, was just way too out of my price range, and just stick to singles, and it has done pretty well for me as far as that regards. Now, another set that is coming out here has an official release date here. So Bowman Draft has not had an official release date. That's going to come out sometime in December per Chasing Majors. Now, another set that is slated to drop this week as far as November 13th is going to be 2024 Topps Chrome Update. That is officially releasing here. That is going to be both in hobby and jumbo boxes. There are also Breaker Delights. Breaker Delights here are, obviously, you can tell by the name, are highlighted by breakers. Those are only going to be breaker boxes. You cannot buy those anywhere else. So only breakers will be getting those, and they do have the mega boxes as well, along with just normal retail boxes. A hobby box here is going to have 4 cards per pack, 24 packs per box. A jumbo is going to have 11 cards per pack with 12 packs per box. Breaker boxes have not to be announced yet, and mega boxes will be having 4 cards per pack with 7 packs per box. And the print rate, the print has been pretty good so far from what I've seen. Obviously, it's going to have a lot of the same parallels that we saw in other sets here, like your X fractors, your ray waves, your refractor, prism refractors, all the stuff that we typically saw in the normal Chrome. But obviously, this set is going to be highlighted with the MLB debut patches. Now, I'm gonna let you take a guess here. Out of this, you may be a little bit off, but it'll be fun here for the pod. What do you think the odds are of pulling a MLB debut autograph patch? Which obviously, if you guys don't know, that's the 1-of-1 patches that these players wear when they make their debuts. What do you think is the odds of pulling a 1-of-1 out of a hobby box?
Of those 1-of-1
Out of the
patches?
1-of-1 patches, without googling, without looking anywhere. What do you think is the what are the odds? What are the odds that you think you buy a hobby box? What do you think the odds are of pulling a Paul Skeens debut patch?
I'd probably say like 1 in every 28,105, maybe.
Shout out to Tasty Majors for the quick Google search. So those are your odds. You're at 1 out of 28,105 are your hobby boxes. Your jumbos are your 1,400, 1,409, what 1,000, 1 out of 4,985. I cannot speak. Breakers of Light is where I was jumping ahead because Breakers of Light are a little bit easier. You're 1 out of 446, and your mega boxes are 1 out of 336,040 packs. So if you're buying mega boxes, good luck. And if you pull one, you should buy a lottery ticket with that because that is just absolutely ridiculous. Now, obviously, with those, like we just briefly mentioned here, those are the MLB debut patches. Those are highlighted by obviously players who made their major league debut this season. So guys like Jackson Holiday, Paul Skeens, Jackson Churio, Jackson Merrill, Shota Imanaga, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Wyatt Langford, Colton Cowser, Pete Crow Armstrong, all those guys here, obviously all the rookies here that made their debuts this year. They will be getting their patches. Our guy Cam Boozer is getting one. If you guys don't know, his story is pretty crazy as far as his, so that's a pretty cool debut patch to pull. Cedon Rafaela as well. All those guys are getting their debut patches. Now, I'm not too sure what these boxes went for because the pre-orders have sold out, and I wasn't able to find anything. But right now, you can buy a 2024 Topps Chrome Update Series hobby box on Steel City Collectibles. I'm not affiliated with them. I'm not plugging them. There's just the first website that popped up for me. But you can buy these for $249.95. So I circle back the same question that I asked with Bowman Draft. If you see that price there at our local hobby stores, is this one thing again that you're potentially skipping on?
This one, I like this one a little bit more. Not necessarily that I'd probably spend all that money to into it, but the only reason why is because I think a lot of these guys are like kind of, I want to say, a little bit more proven than than the draft guys, since the fact that they're in obviously they're already in the majors and we got their 1-of-1 patches. I don't know if you saw it on top. You see Imanaga signing it,
Yeah,
his one of
his
one.
was cool.
I
I
don't know if you
believe they
saw it.
call those
It looked pretty dope.
the kaiju style autograph. I believe that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that was really cool. I think Koda Senga did his like that last year as well, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I saw his signing his, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, so these are pretty cool. I mean, I was trying to do the math, and if I did like the percentages right, you have a 0.00003 chance of pulling it out of a hobby. So it is like, yeah, it's crazy, gonna be crazy luck. But and it's weird too because I don't really see any of these on the market. Do you?
A lot of the times, they sell like either like privately or they do sell like in auctions. So that's why we really don't get like a confirmed price. I believe like the first video for you guys that don't know, like I transition a lot of my content when when I started making card content. Like the first video I made being dedicated to like sports cards and trading cards, visual cards, I believe it was covering Jackson Holiday and his debut patch, because they do have, I wonder if I can find it really quickly. Um but I
Mm.
remember, like, going over, like, prices of those debut patches. I wonder if I could find it quickly. 'Cause I know the Collectible Guru was the one who put out a tweet like that, kind of showing off the prices. Let me see if I can quickly find them. I don't think
Hey, Ellie De La Cruz is in here too. Is one of one.
I saw that, and I guess what they did was they took his patch from last year, because he debuted last year. So, I'm not
Yeah. And I saw like
I
something.
guess they took his patch and just saved it. Let me see.
So it says players who made their first appearance between June 1st of 2023 and May 24th of 2024 are eligible here.
I
Okay.
guess that makes sense, yeah.
I was like, damn, that one's gonna be some pretty pennies.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense here. So, like, looking at it here, this is coming from Sports Card Pro. Looks like obviously some cards have yet to be pulled, but, like, let's take a look here at some of these guys, trying to find a good name that's potentially sold. Uh, yeah, I'm not really finding anything. They're showing this on.
If Forrest Whitley's also in here too.
Yeah, I pulled his card like a normal base card the other day, and that was like a name that I had not heard in such a long, long time. Obviously, us being from the San Antonio area, he was the guy that was being predicted as far as
You
like.
pulled the good old. You pulled the little Ben Kenobi there. Now that's a name I have not heard in a long, long
I saw his
time.
card. I was like, dude, that's a name I have. I think it actually might have been from Update. I think when I
Yeah.
pulled this card, I was like, dude, that's a name I've never heard. So just like an idea. So a 2023 Topps Chrome update. Let me see here. That's just what's these are just what's sold on potentially on eBay. Um, that's no. Carlos Vargas sold for 1,200 best offer. So yeah, a lot of these do sell, but again, I think there are a lot of like just private sales, in my opinion. I think from what I've seen, just even like on here, I'm not seeing a lot. I would have to go back to that video to see what the prices were. Maybe I was trying to get lucky and see maybe I could find his tweet really quick from the collectible guru. Because yeah, these cards they do sell for obviously for quite a bit of money, even if the player is not even like a big name. Obviously they do sell quite a bit
Yeah.
because it's obviously it's player worn, and I think a lot of these times too, like a lot of these players try to go out and get those patches because obviously it's their patch. Um, let me
That's true.
see. Let
Yeah.
me see. Yeah, having some difficulty finding it here. I know it took a while for them to get pulled. A while back last year. So I'm curious to see what these are gonna look like. Like I think here, November 15th actually was the first one that got pulled. It was Drew Maggie. He was from the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that was a kind of a cool one. He was I believe it was like catcher that kind of had that cool like minor league story. So obviously this set has a lot of those guys as well. Believe our boy too, David Hamilton should have one, if I'm not mistaken. Um
Yeah, Willie Abreu's in here too,
So yeah, so we'll get those guys in there.
and Justin Sladen.
Oh, our boy. So yeah, a lot of cool. It's very cool. Obviously, regardless of who you pull, if you do get one, um, very very cool cards to get. And I don't know if you saw this too. The triple autos have been pretty cool. We have all the three Jacksons getting their cards: the Super Fractor, Jackson Mario, Jackson Holiday,
Yeah,
and Jackson Churio. Uh, Again, in old good fashion with tops and with people just complaining about everything. To me, it's a very very cool card. Like I'm not complaining about that card if I was to ever pull, if I was ever be so lucky to pull that card. But of course, everybody was complaining that it was a sticker auto, which I mean, I get it's a sticker auto. Um, but I mean, I'm curious to get your opinion on that. Them taking advantage, and then also as well to kind of get your opinion on this one too. The Jackson Holiday and Billy Ripken card.
and Billy
Yeah,
Ripken.
those are
Yeah.
I saw that. Like, dude, Tops is just on it with these types of stuff these days. Man, I just feel like people just need to enjoy the cards. Yes, I get it. They're sticker autos, but these are very cool cards. They have never been done, and obviously with Jackson Holiday, with the fun face, the F face that they did in flagship for Series 2. I think those are overall very, very cool cards, and I think are very fun to be on the chase for, to be on the hunt for, and whoever pulls those cards would be very lucky. So I'm curious to see what you thought about those both cards there, and Topps taking advantage of definitely the hype and definitely a lot of the popularity that these cards had during the releases this year.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the checklist. It's actually pretty dope. But I'm looking at the odds, and I'm like, they cannot like tell me how they're not like catering to the breakers. So for the triple autograph, in hobby, it's one out of every 36,066. In jumbo, it's one out of every 5,997. For the breakers, it's one out of every 742. Like, come on, bro. Let's get with the fucking program. Anywho's, um, I don't know if you saw this. There's going to be a Pedro Martinez, Rafael Devers, and a David Ortiz triple auto.
Oh, I did not see that.
Yeah, so it looks pretty. They have some pretty cool ones. They're going to have a Wade Boggs, Chipper Jones, George Brett one. Um, they're going to have an Oakland A's of Reggie Jackson, Ricky Henderson, and Mark McGuire. That'd be a pretty cool one too.
Yeah, they're bringing
Um,
back a lot of legends
yeah,
for this one.
look at this one. I'm assuming this is going to be like a junior card. They have Vladdy Jr., Fernando Tatis Jr., and Ronald Acuna Jr.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And then I think I saw this one on I think you saw the image right there on I think they posted it on their tops page, but they have a Phillies card for Ryan Howard, Jimmy Rollins, Chase
Yeah.
Ellie. That was pretty cool. Yeah, they're just pretty cool cards. I mean, if you pull one of these, that's gonna be pretty dope. And I think they have red refractors and super refractors from what I'm seeing here, and those odds are crazy for like a super refractor for a hobby. It's one out of every 360,652. But if you want to be cool and give into the breaker, one out of every 6,676. So there you go.
So that was going to be my question to you.
Pretty cool.
So you hear those breaker odds. Obviously, people have their opinion about breakers, and I think maybe that's a own episode dedicated for another time. But I quickly here for this episode's sake, you hear these boxes, the odds for the breakers. Obviously, you broke it down. I'm not too sure what the breakers are going to offer as far as the slots price wise. Typically, they can go from anywhere from $20 to $40, or maybe if it's a higher touted rookie or a team, can go any from up to $100 or even beyond that. But or Breaker Delight boxes, is this going to intrigue you to potentially look into buying into a break? I know we've talked about on the site in our personal text messages. We've kind of talked about breaking and getting into it, how it works. And I know you do a lot of watching of breaks, but I guess a two-part question. One, have you ever bought into a break? And two, is this something that you will finally partake into a break of?
So it's funny. It's funny that you asked this because I was gonna text you about this earlier. So I was on Fanatics Live earlier today and just kind of just browsing through, right? And I think I saw one breaker. I always see him on there. He's always live. I'm not gonna shout out his name or anything like that. But he had like fairly decent. Like I think he was ripping up. What is it? The stadium, the compact boxes.
Compact
Is
boxes?
that what
Yeah.
they're called, right? Yeah, he was opening up four of them, I think. And so I was kind of browsing the prices, and his prices were like all over the place. Like Like the Orioles, I think were like $50, but then I saw the Sox at $15. So I was like, damn. I was like, maybe I should just give it a shot. 'Cause I'm like, I don't want to spend all this money and not get nothing out of it. And then, but I'm also just curious to see kind of how it works. But as soon as if I was gonna do it, like I guess it like got sold or he gave it away. I guess like because somebody else had bought a spot, so he gave away free spots, and the Red Sox just so happened to get free. So then I was like, all right, I'm gonna let this fill up, and I'm gonna like watch the whole break, and I'm gonna just hypothetically, all right, let's just pretend I bought the Red Sox and see what fucking happens. Not one fucking Sox card, dude. I was like, dude, all right, it's fine, I'll do it. Um, yeah, like not one card got pulled. I was like, damn. And then I think with all the shipping, I don't know if do they would they still well yeah. I don't know if they would still charge you for shipping if you don't pull nothing. So I don't know how that would work. But yeah, it was $15 for nothing. So luckily I didn't get it. But I have like just casually browse on Fanatics Live, and there's like certain teams where like it'd be like a team like the Rockies and it's like $5. So I'm like, maybe just to give it a try. But I do recall, I think when Topps Chrome came out, when they had the Breaker Delight boxes, like, I think that's when I first got into Fanatics Live when you told me about it, and I was kind of just browsing through it. But yeah, some people are just like they're just charging upwards, like it's crazy, like to not get nothing out of it. Like it's a pretty big gamble, but I mean, if you do what you want to do with your money, but I guess it all depends on what the prices are. But I'm assuming like the Orioles are going to be expensive because everybody's chasing Jackson Holiday. They're going to be chasing the Billy Ripken duel with him. Um, I'm pretty sure the Pirates are going to be in demand for Paul Skeens, the 101. The Dodgers with Yamamoto and stuff like that. So yeah, if your team sucks, you might have a good shot at joining one of these breaks.
If your
Or
team sucks and
yeah.
has no name players,
So
yeah.
I don't know. Shout out to the Colorado Rockies. You're gonna catch me on a break.
Sorry if you're a Colorado Rockies fan. We caught some you caught some
Uh,
strays here that probably were not. Uh,
Beautiful stadium, dude. Oh god, I love that place. It was so fun. But that's a story for another day.
yeah,
So, not
me
shout out to the Colorado Rockies.
and future Mrs. Moon 3P were talking about our summer trips, and we had Colorado on the list there because we definitely want to go check them out. But Colorado Rockies catching some strays that I don't think we were
Yeah.
projecting here on this episode. um, but yeah, I mean, for me, like I've bought into some breaks. I actually just bought into some last week. Was it last week? Yeah, last Wednesday. Bought into some, got some decent stuff, got some the breaker that I was watching did. He was opening up Bowman mega boxes, Stadium Club, and then he did what else did he do? I think that was it. I think that's all he did. And yeah, got some decent stuff. I had some Fanatics credit left over, so technically didn't pay for anything just because of my PSA membership. So it essentially was free. So that's why that's the only reason why that I paid. So I've technically have only bought into 2 breaks. One was, and they've all been on Fanatics Live through my Fanatics credit, and I've been pretty lucky on some of them. The first one I paid like kind of like you mentioned there, the Topps Chrome Black. I think I paid like $10 for the Red Sox slot. And then kind of like what you mentioned, he gave away a Tampa Bay Rays slot. So was able to do that. I got the Sadine Rafaela, and then I got my Wilshire Abreu out of 75 Blue Lava out of Topps Chrome, which actually just graded a PSA 10. If you want to go check that video out, go check out my TikTok at Moon3PO. And the Sadine got graded an 8.5, unfortunately, from SGC. Auto 10, but the card itself got an 8.5, which is still kind of a little surprising to me. And then this next one, yeah, what did I get? I got a couple of autos, some first Bowmans, 1 out of 150, normal Bowman Chrome autos as well. I got the Braves. He does it on a wheel, so it's all random. So I got the Braves, and I
Yeah.
got damn, what was the second team I got? Braves and the D-backs. I got the Braves and the D-backs. So I got it was all right.
Yeah, some I was jumping through like throughout all the breakers, and some of them are pretty cool. Like I like the one guy where he had a timer on his like to
Mhm.
fill out the slots. So as it's getting closer to like the break, he threw in like a 20% discount. So the Rockies went from $5 to like $3. But um yeah, then he started like giving away like some some of the slots, and then there's like other breakers where they're just sitting there, and they're like, "Come on, guys, we got 12 slots left. Let's get it filled." And then it's like that's it. Like he's just sitting there, so there's no interaction and stuff like that. And then there was this one break, and I get that like they have like all of these fucking cards to open, but like this dude ripped up. I think it was an update jumbo. Obviously, all the bases are there, right? Dude, this dude was like floop, 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 floop. I'm like, damn, dude, let me see what I got in there.
Yeah, and sometimes some breakers
Like,
don't even
I
send
don't
out
know.
the
I would want it. I would want to see.
yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes some breakers don't even send out the base cards. Sometimes they ask if you want the base cards, but like sometimes it's only like hits and inserts and stuff like that. So yeah.
nah, you better send me all my damn cards, brother. I pay for shipping. You better send me something.
But yeah, it's so I was like, that's always pretty interesting with break. I don't know if I'll buy into one for this one. It's definitely gonna be interesting to see what the prices are, like you mentioned. Um
I'm sure it's. I'm sure it's gonna be. I would expect nothing less than like $50. I'm assuming. I don't
yeah,
know.
nah, you're probably right. Yeah, because and then the breaker that I like watching,
Somewhere around there.
um I guess I'll shout them out. It's Cards and Culture that I was part of those breaks. What they do is the Stash and Pass, which is where you pay for like $20 gets you your team, and then $5 extra gets you to either like stash it, like you go away with it, like you keep the team, or you pass it and you get the chance to enroll to get another team. So that's what they do on their end. So it was pretty cool, pretty interesting. And I was like, oh, I think probably other breakers do that, but it's pretty cool. Like they gave you the opportunity, like, hey, if you get a crap team like the Colorado Rockies, you can give it away and try to get somebody else.
I'm so curious to see a break on is that god awful Allen and Ginter, because who is going to keep the grass
No.
cards?
All right.
That's what I want to
No.
know.
All right. So I was uh I was out today and they went live again. Cards and Culture went live. So like, all right, let me see. I had a little bit of luck, and the guy that we're trying to get on this pod. He was breaking, and he he did Allen and Ginter, and they're a specific slot for like celebrities, actors, other non-sports athletes, the grass card, like all those weird cards that we see. They had a slot for specifically for that for $20.
Oh my
And
god!
somebody
And that's what I'm also curious. That's why I'm also curious too. Like, how do they like let's say if like I bought the Sox, you bought the Braves, and then somebody else bought the Royals, and then that triple card gets pulled of Boggs, Chipper, and um George Brett gets pulled. Like, who the fuck gets that card out of the three of us?
I don't know.
Right? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
If you're a breaker, let us know in the
Yeah, I don't
comments.
know. I know
Let us
sometimes
know.
some breakers do like disclose that, or like sometimes they go. If I'm correct me, yeah. If you're a breaker and you know more about this stuff, obviously you guys would have to like let me know in the comments down below, or like tweet at me at Moon3PO, or tweet at BroPO at _ Robbie ROBBEEE. Um, I believe what they also do as well is that if a card like that is pulled and it features multiple players, they'll put your names on the wheel or like on the to get select. I believe, if I'm not
Uh,
mistaken, I believe I've seen that in the past. Don't quote me on that, but I would think that's like the logical thing as well. Cause like, how are you gonna like give that away? I don't know. That's the like if I was a breaker, I think that would be the most logical thing. And if I'm like hosting that break, I'm like disclosing that like right at the beginning, like, hey, if this card is pulled and you're buying that slot, I'm putting your three names on here. It's a pick and choose type thing.
damn. So, if, imagine if that is true, and then imagine like you buy two of the same teams, and the other person gets the other team, and then they do that wheel, and you're on there twice, and then you lose.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'd be
Yeah,
so
because it'll be
pissed.
curious to see, like, let's see,
I'd call my bank and dispute the charge. About like,
file
there's
fraud.
fraud on my card.
Yeah, because it would be curious to see, like, let's say, like, the that Jackson Churio, Jackson Holiday, and Jackson Murrow's pulled. Like,
Yeah.
it's a good question to raise up here. Uh,
Maybe people also like if you're specifically looking for that card, maybe they buy all three teams, all those teams,
yeah, I feel like
if you big
if you're
baller.
buying those slots, which would be I would expect those prices to be over $100. Yeah, I would expect those to for that person try to buy all those 3 slots unless they're on a wheel. Um, then obviously you're playing the draw of luck there. But yeah, I would assume there if all the team slots are open for available, I'm pretty sure whoever's trying to go for that card is just buying all 3 of those slots and just hoping they get that. But again, it depends on the breaker too. So it'll be something curious to
You
see what
get
they watch out
and you
for.
get and breakers get 2 autographs in their boxes, but we don't know how many cards and packs are in theirs. Do they sell them individually too? Like, can you just buy it directly from a breaker? Right? You probably
I
could,
believe
right?
so. I think I've seen some people get them. Yeah, 'cause I'm pretty sure there's a way to get them distributed to like like maybe under low key type sale potentially. 'Cause I think I've seen some videos of some guys open up the box like at their house. I'm like, you're not a breaker. How'd you get that box? But yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's that.
But yep, holiday, obviously highlighting that set. Top Scrum update again, officially dropping November 13th. Is going to be very interesting to see what that set does. I may or may not buy a hobby box depending on what it's looking like. I'm gonna kind of weigh it out a little bit, see what our local card stores hold out for these prices and see what they do. And if they're under a reasonable price, then maybe dive into a box. There's been a lot of ripping recently, so got to calm down a little bit on that. If you want to check out that video should already be out. Like you mentioned the compact boxes we did. I did open up 2 compact boxes over on the YT channel. So you guys want to check that out. Link will be down in the description down below if you want to check out that video. Hopefully that is released on Monday. And this episode, again, released on Tuesday. But that is all the card stuff that we have as far as right now. Like we've hinted there in the beginning of the episode, this is an off-season episode. So this is going to be highlighted by free agency and trades and signings and things of that nature. There has not been a lot of movement as far as of yet. Obviously, players did get offered the qualifying offer. We did get one signing. Michael Walker has officially re-signed with the Kansas City Royals on a 3-year, $51 million deal. So shout out to Michael Walker as far as of that. But obviously, the big name here is going to be your guys like Juan Soto, Willie Adames, Bregman, Corbin Burns, Teoscar Hernandez, Max Fried, Jake Flaherty, Blake Snell, those guys. But obviously, the realm there is going to be Juan Soto. Now, and also, we have a posting of Sasaki from Japan, the 23-year-old phenom, has officially been posted, and he will be probably pitching for the Los Angeles Dodgers, probably at this rate, the way everything goes these days. But we'll probably save him for another episode. I kind of wanted to let this whole episode be dedicated to the one guy that we talked about last episode, was going to be Juan Soto. Now, obviously, there's been some rumblings as far as where he's going to go. Who is he going to sign with? How much is he going to sign for? I believe per the Athletic, he is going to meet with the New York Yankees this week, if I'm not mistaken. And then Steve Cohen is also meeting with Juan Soto as well. So we'll open up the floor to you here, Bro Pio. We'll let the first prediction of the offseason come into play. Juan Soto. Let's first disclose. Let's start off first. What do you want to disclose with? Team or years or money? What do you want to start off?
We can go contract.
Contract? All right. So then I open up to you.
Yeah. What's Shohei's total like? Because I'm looking at on baseball on BR, like they just have his 10 years, 282. Like, what was his total? It was like 700, right?
700
Or
million.
was it six?
700 million.
700 million.
And basically
Okay.
all of that is deferred. Uh yeah.
Yeah, it's because like Baseball Reference has him at 10 years, 282.
Yeah. So it
So
has it here. A total of 680 million. 90% of the money was deferred until 2024, 2034, and 43 with no interest. So all of it is all deferred. But yes, his total annual was 700 million.
So I think Juan Soto, like year wise, is probably gonna push like 13, 14 years, honestly.
13.
And I'm thinking no more than like 650 probably. 650 million.
6 to 650.
So yeah. So I'm gonna say 13 for 650.
13 for. And what's the annual value on that? If you're doing the math.
That's I mean if you do 50
50
million.
million. Because the total highest, largest
Yeah.
annual value is going to be Aaron Judge. Hits 40 million. He's at obviously 9,360. Mike Trout was 1240 426.5. That's 35.5 annual value. Anthony Rendon, that's just absolutely ridiculous. 7 years, 245 at 35 million for the Angels. I had to like make sure I like triple.
Hey, go go find yourself an Angels break for $10. Maybe you'll pull a Rendon auto.
I had to like triple read that. You cut off there, by the way.
I was like, go find yourself a $10 Angels break. You might pull a Rendon card.
I'm reading this off of BR. I was like, I had to like triple read that. Let's see who else is on here. What's Mookie? Mookie is I know it's 12,365, but yeah, 30.4 million.
So what was Judge?
Judge is 9,360, so he's 40 million annual per.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and
See,
obviously he's way
and
better
I
than
mean
Aaron
Juan Soto's
Judge.
freaking. Yeah, I mean, and Juan Soto's 26 years old too.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably why. I mean, this dude's he's gonna. I honestly think he's gonna sign wherever the money's at. Honestly, like I don't know. I don't know. I honestly like. I think like Steve Cohen is probably gonna bring back up that Brinks truck, dude. As much as I would love for the Red Sox to get in on it, I know they said that they're interested in and stuff like that. I really don't see it happening. Like I don't know. I think it has to be like less than like 20%. I see it happening. Like less than 10 maybe. Like I know they have that whole thing where they joke around with like that he's like real buddy with David Ortiz, and I think apparently like he bought a house like near him and stuff like that. But I don't see that happening as much as I'd like to. But so I honestly think he'll probably end up on the
The
Mets.
Mets. He either does drive up
The
north or whatever,
Mets.
go up a little bit, take the subway station to the Nets.
He's going to Queens. He's going to the Queens.
Yeah, to me, it's always to me with
Because
Soto.
also like, do you think it would like obviously so they made Aaron Judge their captain, right? Like, do you think that they would pay somebody else more than their captain? Or you think that's something they even like thinking about? You know what I mean?
The way I
Maybe if it was George Steinbrenner probably would have, but
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
the way I see it.
Like look what they did with A-Rod, like with Jeter, like when they brought in A-Rod, like they're like, hey dude, like Jeter's our shortstop, like you're gonna have to move. Um, like I don't know if they would. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it don't matter to Judge, but I don't know.
Well, yeah, you bring up a good point too, because it was like
Pretty
that
strange.
with Yamamoto. They didn't, out of respect, out of Garrett Cole, like they didn't think he was worth
Oh yeah,
325.
yeah. Well, yeah. There you go.
So yeah, you bring up
Yeah,
an interesting point
there you
with
go.
that.
That's a good
I
point.
didn't think about that
Yeah,
until I was like, oh, they did the same thing with Yamamoto and then Garrett Cole. The thing I think
yeah.
with Soto, it's more of like, what does he value more? Like, no matter in New York, like and like you played it, like the way you just mentioned there. Like, I think it's always going to be like, it's never going to be Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. It's Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. Like, it's never that. Whoever obviously is first is a bigger name and things of that nature. Um, so yeah, I don't think it's. I think to me it's more of like, what does Juan Soto value? Does he value being that guy, being that dude, or does he value making that money, or does he value, hey, I just want to win? Like, I've had my full year in New York. Supposedly he loved New York, from what I've heard. I think Scott Boras mentioned something too, like he thrived in New York, he loved it, he enjoyed the environment. Um, but I think to me, it's going to be more of what he values and what he wants to do. Does he want to be second fiddle? Obviously, us smart baseball fans or baseball fans in general, we all know Juan Soto is better than Aaron Judge, but it's going to be the case of where, does Juan Soto want to be second fiddle to Aaron Judge? That's going to be the question that he personally would have to ask himself. I don't know the answer to that question, obviously. Uh, but yeah, I think you raised up a really good point with that. And yeah, I do think as well he's going to get the same kind of contract, 13, 14, maybe even 15 years, and kind of get that 500 at $600 range. Obviously, 650, I think he's what he get. Because you got to remember too, the Nationals kind of offered him, now obviously not that kind of money, but they offered him the deferred stuff, and he said no. So he's like, he's not gonna want that. He
Yeah,
wants the straight up money, and I don't know if the Yankees can. They've already said too that they don't want like they have to cut payroll. So you got Aaron Judge, you got Giancarlo, you got Rondon. You have a lot of money on that payroll already. So like, are you going to be giving that up, or like, do you have the now Garrett Cole? Now he took his deal back. Uh, so are you financially able?
which is
Yeah, very
weird.
rare situation. So it's more of a thing now, like, are you financially able to afford all these contracts and still try to build? Um, and I think with the Yankees too, it's like you tried bringing these guys to win and you didn't. Like, what else can you do, or who else are you going to sign to do that? Like, they don't have that financial flexibility like the Dodgers to go out and do what they do. So yeah, I personally do not see Juan Soto back in pinstripes, which will be good for the Red Sox and me as a Red Sox fan, of course. I do see him also going up north. I do see him changing the pinstripe colors and do becoming a New York Met. And because obviously, if when he joins the Mets, he's obviously going to be topping Francisco Lindor. It's going to be Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor. It's not going to be flip flop. And I can see him getting that same kind of contract. Yeah, I would absolutely love if he was a Boston Red Sox or will be a future Boston Red Sox. I was gonna say I don't even want to imagine him playing right field because I think that would be atrocious. I would throw him in left field, but yeah, I think he will eventually will be a New York Met. When he signs, I do not know. Do you okay? Another question for you. Do you think he signed at winter meetings, or do you think he takes longer to like January and February, like we see these guys kind of sign?
I know. I think he's gonna. I honestly think once he goes, I think that's when the market's probably gonna start to fall. So I do think probably I would probably think sometime around the winter meetings is probably when he's gonna hopefully sign. Dude, baseball the off season it's so annoying. It's like the slowest damn thing in the world. Like especially like if you compare it to like the NBA, like midnight, like the NBA free agency starts at midnight, like at 12:05, like all the top players are already all signed. I'm like, dude, like like what the heck? Like how does this happen? And then baseball, like guys want to sign to like spring training, and I'm like, come on, dude. But yeah, hopefully, hopefully it's like around the winter mini times that we have some news to break down in December. So
Yeah, because Juan Soto, I mean, not Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani signed pretty early, I think, too, last year, if I'm not mistaken, or like December-ish.
yeah,
I believe he signed, and kind of like you mentioned there, the market kind of um, fell through after that. Obviously, there's a lot of also potential trades um, that can be made. And I guess since we're here, we'll talk about it because I don't think we've talked about it here. Obviously, we have a lot of free agency pitchers being on the market. Blake Snell, Max Fried, Corbin Burns. Obviously, we are Red Sox fans, so we will talk a little bit of Sox. We'll quickly touch upon it here. Obviously, the Red Sox. We've heard the rumors. We've heard they're going to be spending. And from what we've heard from outside sources, like the way they talked in San Antonio, which shout out Craig Breslow. Don't know if you're here in San Antonio, my guy. Um, hopefully you hit up the Riverwalk, maybe had a few margs, and maybe that got the blood flowing a little bit as far as of deals. But obviously the link is going to be to Carrot Crochet. Um, and obviously the big four that we have. If you're the Red Sox, are you who do you start off with if you're trading Crochet? I put out a tweet. I said I'm fine with them moving Marcelo, but to me, Roman Anthony and Christian Campbell are the two untouchables. Like, I'm not touching them. Don't come near me with that. I don't want to hear it. But if it's Marcelo, Teal, maybe another Franklin Arias, maybe potentially, those are the guys I'm like, all right, maybe I'm listening.
honestly, I think I'd put Teal in the untouchable too. Cause I feel like you need like I like Connor Wong, but I think he's probably fit better as like the backup maybe. with Kyle Teal, so that's what I'm kind of hoping for. The only thing I think people why I think a little bit more comfortable with Marcelo is because I don't think he's put in a full healthy season already.
Nope.
Like he always seems to get hurt, and the same thing happened again this year, and so that's a little could be a little worrisome. Um, but yeah, I think if you're gonna part away with one of the top four, or if you want to say top five, you want to throw Montgomery in there too. If you have to give up one of those, I would think it's probably Marcelo, which would suck, but um, yeah, it all depends on the return. So
And I guess because I think the rumor has been that obviously we kind of talked about him earlier in the podcast. Wilshire Abreu is highlighting some of the trade packages as well. Obviously, we have a very crowded outfield. To me, I would hate to see Wilshire go. I love Wilshire. I think he's kind of everything that Boston embodies. Plays a hard defense, always dirty. Has a good bat too. Was protected by lefties a little bit, but was one of the top 5, top 10 rookies in the league this year. Um, but I think if a deal is starting with him for a guy like a Crochet, that's a no brainer for me too. I don't know how you feel about that, but to me that's a no brainer.
for
Yeah.
Willier,
If the White Sox are calling me right now and I'm
I
Craig,
know, I
if
see.
the White Sox are calling me right now and I'm Craig Breslow and we're talking Crochet and they start off, all right, well, let's start with Wilshire Abreu. I'm working with them right off the bat. If they tell me Marcelo, I'm like, okay, what are you cooking with? What do you want? What do you want to do? If you're starting with Roman, you're starting with Christian Campbell, I'm hanging up the phone. But if you're starting with Wilshire, it's 100%. All right, what do you want to do? If it's starting with Marcelo, it's like, all right, we can maybe listen a little bit. I'm willing to listen. But Wilshire, 100%, I'm listening.
I'm I'm pretty sure if they start with Wilshire, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Wilshire, somebody in the top 10, but no higher than 5. I would assume. I would think a prospect there, and then yeah, I would assume that would probably be the start of it. It's probably Willier. I think I heard that they're looking for outfielders, right? If I'm not mistaken, that they're looking for outfield help. So I guess that Willier kind of fits in perfectly, especially. And he just won a Gold Glove, but man, dude, I would hate to see him go too. 'Cause I do like um, Willier a lot. And I mean, in right field in Fenway is so hard to play. They always say like right field's like another center field. So that's kind of why I'm like, oh, I don't want to give him away because he's like he just want to Gold Glove. He's I guess and the bat's there, but he's protected against lefties. But um, I don't know. The thing that worries me about Crochet too is his innings. Like he hasn't really ever thrown a lot. Like this was the most he's thrown, and it was like 140 innings. And he pitches in the AL Central, the weakest division probably in all in baseball. So
Yeah.
how is he gonna go? Or how I don't know how he would pitch going from that to the AL, like the AL East. So they say it's loaded. So I don't know. I It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I think from what I've read and heard and seen is that yeah, that the White Sox are looking for position players. And obviously we're the top farm system for position players. So and the conversation has been starting off with Wilshire. I saw some crazy stupid trades for like Roman Anthony and all those guys. Roman Anthony, again, going to preface it 100 times, is the guy that I am not touching whatsoever. He's untouchable. Not trading him in any type of deal whatsoever. Him and Christian Campbell, because those other guys have been proven. They've shown they can do this at an elite level, or not elite level, but at a steady pace. Like you mentioned there with Marcelo, it does worry me a little bit about the injuries because he did have the shoulder injury, and I believe this year was the back injury, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and then, but when healthy this year, he was playing pretty well. It's just curious to see what the Red Sox decide to do. For me, too, like I think a interesting turn and twist on this too is like you have the money to spend. There's a world where you keep these guys and you just go sign a free agency, a free agent starter. Like I understand the trades and wanting a controllable arm at a decent price, like a Crochet and those kind of guys, maybe a Jesus Luzardo, maybe a Sandy Alcantara. Like I understand that. I see where you're coming from, but there is also a world where you keep all those guys, but you just sign a free agent starter. Like I don't get that as well. Like go out and sign a Corbin Burns. I know people were kind of crapping on Corbin Burns. I would have no issue with Corbin Burns as a Red Sox. I would have no issue with Blake Snell. I know people crap on Blake Snell can't going past 6 innings. I have no issue with Blake Snell or Max Fried. Max Fried has the ties with Giolito. Uh,
Dude, Max Free.
I have
Yeah.
no problem. Like, so there's a world where you sign those guys, and or you can sign one of those guys and keep your core there. Because for the longest time, what we've heard from the Red Sox, like these are our guys. Like first, it was the big three. Just now, it's a big four with Campbell and maybe Montgomery once he does come along. But like they stated that these are the guys that are going to get us to where we want to be. That being the World Series and the consistency of competing for a championship. So why the sudden turn really quickly? To me, doesn't really make any sense because there is a world where you can keep these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a perfect world, like if we can keep all these guys, you go out and send Max Fried, and then somehow maybe take Sasaki.
Oh, I, w-
You know what I'm
I
saying?
would love Suzuki on the Red Sox. I would love it.
And then you don't have to get rid of all these guys. The only thing again I think the problem that they're saying is it's very left-handed heavy. So um I don't know. Like, do they start? I know they've talked about floating or trading. There's been a lot of Tristan Casas rumors, that too. Like, do they trade Acasas and they bring in like a Christian Walker for first base?
No,
I
hate
don't
that
know.
idea.
I know, but I know I hate it too. But I'm saying like they if they're right-handed heavy, like they need right-handed bats.
I
Like
know. I
I'm just
saw a
saying,
dumbass tweet the other day that some guy was arguing that tonight signed Juan Soto because he's left-handed. I was like, well,
yeah,
mind-boggling that
no,
that was said on the, you could put something out there. You don't want to sign Juan Soto. You don't want Juan Soto on your team because he's left-handed. Was bonkers. I had to make sure I had to triple read
yeah,
that.
that's crazy. I don't know. You'd make it work. You figure it out.
Yeah. So, yeah, the Red Sox that we'll have a whole once they do something. Hopefully, we'll have a full episode dedicated to them and dedicated to the move. Hopefully, again, from what we've heard, they are going to be making some moves. They said they're going to be out spending what they're going to spend, who they're going to spend it on. Hopefully, it's spending the money on the right players and not the wrong players. Um, Obviously, we've heard the links to Bregman, Adamas, maybe bring it back Tyler O'Neill potentially. Curious to see where that goes. Pavetta, I know he has a qualifying offer as well, so I'd be curious to see how that plays out within the next couple of days, couple of weeks, and couple of months. But that's all we have here for this episode of Cardboard Dugout. Obviously, once the free agency does kick into play, obviously we'll go into those guys a little bit more deeper once these guys do sign, like those guys like the Max Frieds, the Blake Snells, all those guys. Obviously, we'll cover them a little bit more and obviously cover down Juan Soto. We will do our best when these guys do sign, because obviously we've been shooting these episodes once a week. Once these guys do sign, I'm going to make a quick decision here. We are going to do our best to have emergency pods where we quickly react to those signings. If possible, we will do that. Depending on when they sign, how they sign, I'm going to make the decision here that we will do our best to get those emergency pods out. So if you're not following on the socials, would highly, highly recommend that you guys do follow us on there just so you guys can keep up with it. You can follow me at Moon3PO. And like I mentioned, you can follow BroPO at _Robbie, ROBBEEE. That's 2 B's, 3 E's. So check them out there on all other social medias. Link also down in the description down below if you want to follow them there. And again, heavily, heavily uh, uh, and try to get you guys to follow those media so you guys can keep up with us. But before I close off the episode here, Bro Pio, we'll throw it to you for any final thoughts. Any final thoughts you have for the good old Cardboard Dugout listeners?
No, I don't think I got much. Honestly, again, just keep a follow us on the socials. Let's connect. Let's converse on the Twitter web. Drop some comments on YouTube, stuff like that on the TikToks. Um, I know I had mentioned I think a couple episodes back, I was eventually going to buy a hobby box of a product, and I still have not yet to do that. So the the funds are still set aside here in my little trusty door. We do have some pretty cool stuff coming up. So I think eventually, once I decide what I'm gonna buy with it, we're gonna get it recorded, and maybe we'll throw it on the good old YouTube and see what we can pull. Hopefully, we get some cool stuff. And but yeah, other than that, no, I don't got too much. Hopefully, the off season picks up here quickly, so we can start breaking down some trades. Hopefully, some signings and stuff like that, so we can get the ball rolling.
Yep. Yeah, kind of same thing here with my final thoughts here. Just want to say a quick thank you to everybody who's actually been tuning into all of the content that we've been putting out recently. You guys have been absolutely killing it. Spotify streams are doing really well. Haven't really looked at Apple Podcasts. Not too sure what the data looks like on that, but from what I've seen on Spotify, you guys have been listening and tuning in. So really do appreciate all the listens there and all the watches over on YouTube. On YouTube, we are 6 subscribers away from 600, which I really do thank you guys for. And TikTok, we are close to almost 500 subscribers. You guys have been killing the content over there. So I really do appreciate all that support that you guys have been showing. That we had our PSA video together on that. So check out that video if you want to see the grades that we got on those cards and submission. That was a pretty good and fun submission on that. So check out that video if you guys want to see that. And I do post a lot of my blaster box rips over on there. So if you guys want to check that out over on TikTok and also on the YouTube Shorts. I do, like I mentioned in the video, this is going to be officially be out on Tuesday. So Monday we will have the compact boxes there. I did open up 2 compact boxes of Top Stadium Club, which is always my favorite rip of the year. So if you guys want to check out that video, that link will be down in the description down below. And yeah, like Ropio mentioned there, we're cooking up some things on the stove. We got all the ingredients. It's just a matter of putting it into the pot, mixing it up, and getting that delivered to you guys. Which has been very, very busy recently. For those I don't know, I do get married in 2 weeks from now, less than 2 weeks now. Holy shit. I do get married less than 2 weeks, so it's gonna
Yeah.
be curious to see how that goes. There is a card show this weekend. Will I be going to it? Time will tell. It is a new one in our hometown, so if I do go to that, keep an eye out for that vlog. Definitely, again, we'll be promoting that on the social, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, that's all I have on my end. Again, thank you guys for listening, watching, supporting us on all that we do. I really, really do appreciate it. It's been going the way that I thought it would, and I'm glad you guys are being receptive and very positive to it. And if you guys haven't been receptive and positive to it, let us know, because I'm an open book to criticism, open criticism, whatever the case may be. If you guys are not liking something, let me know, and if it's something I can improve it, and that's within my control, obviously we'll do that as much as I can. But yeah, that's all I have for the listeners of Cardboard Dugout. Thank you for listening, watching,